And hello again. Welcome to Moscow. Not in Russia, but in southeastern Washington state, in the sort of hinterlands between the the desert and the foothills, and further to the west, the rainforest. But this is Aerosoft's Pullman-Moscow airport. Let's just see what it looks like from the tower view here. Here she is. It's a pretty simple strip. Kind of pleasantly surprised that they made it. Nicely populated with roads, fences, all sorts of stuff. A little bit of ortho, a little bit of custom mesh. Very nice looking little field, but I have no idea why they did it. But anyway, consider this flight a little bit of kind of an amuse-bouche. We're taking a quick flight up to Felts Field in Seattle. Already done the pre-flight, already done the walk-around. Plugged in the flight plan. It's a very simple flight plan. I am not showing it on SkyVector right now for a very simple reason, and that is with the new version I've got of X-Plane, and the new version I've got of Windows, and the new version that I've got of my NVIDIA driver, NVIDIA Share, which is what used to be called Shadow Play. Well, it doesn't play very well with anything, so as soon as you set it up and start it up, if you shift focus away into a Windows window, say, you get 0 frame rate. So I'm not keeping my charts up that way because it just ain't going to work. Just make sure our parking brakes are in. This is the Beech Bonanza, in case you're new to it, which looks good and performs terribly, but it has added to it the Simcoders Reality Expansion Pack, which has all of these little modes here, and a maintenance hangar here. Let's just check everything's okay. Give the battery a little more charge. It's been running for a while. Has all sorts of little stuff here, weight and balance thingamabob. And in addition to that, it adds new sounds, some of which work, some of which don't. Like, for instance, the flap thing works right now, but when the engine is running, it doesn't seem to. But it also adds very realistic aerodynamics, very realistic wind sounds, realistic speeds and fuel burns, and it's just all in all, pretty damn cool. So what we're going to do, since this is, of course, a palate pleaser and a amuse-bouche, a little appetizer, it's going to be a short flight, about 60 miles, and, well, we could drive it almost as fast in that red Volkswagen there, but we're not going to because it won't be as fun. And we're going to land at Felts Field. We had planned to do an ILS arrival into 22 right, but the wind is from the opposite direction, so we're probably going to come right in on the back course of the ILS, the localizer, and then we're going to just enter a left-hand pattern and land visually on 4 left, because there's about an 8 to 12 knot wind, and I noticed it's kind of gusting and bouncy. So, since we're aiming to make this an appetizer, we're going to make this a pretty short flight, and we're going to try and get our procedures done as quickly as humanly possible, as if there were a warrant out for our arrest. So what we'll do very quickly is turn on our rotating beacon. We're going to look around, we're going to yell, clear, get out of the way, duck, run for your lives. But before we do that, we're going to set our altimeter, which is 3000, and get that harmonized on both sides. And make sure that that squares with our airfield elevation, and it does. And so that much is good, and all is well in the world. We're also going to make sure that we've got 115.5, which is Spokane, tuned up in our nav 2, And we do, and now we're going to do our startup procedure, which in this plane is different from a few others. You prime it differently, and it's very easy to prime it too much. We're going to keep our cowl flaps in for a minute so we'll warm up quickly. So throttle goes full, mixture is full, props go full. We're going to prime this. We're going to look right here, and we are going to run the pump only until it peaks and not 1 nanosecond longer, or we will flood the engine. So watch this. Boom. That is all. Any more than that and we're hosed. So throttle 1/4 inch in, parking brake set, starter on, and how do you like that? It starts. Alright, we're going to very quickly reduce the mixture because we are at altitude here at 2,600 feet, and also because it's incredibly easy to foul these plugs. Wouldn't want to do that. Wouldn't be prudent. Not gonna do it. Alright, get all checked out here. Check our controls. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. There we go. Good to go there. Check, make sure we've got suction for our instruments. We do. We've got the fuel we wanted. We do. Idling about the right temperature. Got a magenta line and a route in there. That is all good. We're basically going to fly direct to the VOR instead of intercepting an airway to it. We're going to go direct to the VOR, and that means we're going to do, I think the simplest way to do this would be, since we're flying on runway 06, we will have to do a left turn of about 75 degrees, and we're going to intercept a direct course to GEG VOR, which is Spokane, and then we will hook a right of about, we'll turn to about 039 and take that another 15 miles, and that will get us where we need to go, which is KSFF, which is right along the beautiful Spokane River. I'm not making that up for once. Normally I do because I am woefully ignorant of my geography. Alternator can come on, and you know what I did? I did a bozo no-no there. I started up with our avionics on, but luckily this time we didn't fry anything, which is good because sometimes a surge will fry it. Okay, our oil temperature is good, everything is good, so let's get going. Set 1 notch of flaps, and we'll notice now that our sound for the flaps does not work anymore. Every airplane, every sim platform has quirks. I'm now learning that. I think it's just, I don't know, I guess it's just part of growing up. I want something to do everything I want it to do. Like, I want this plane to have a Garmin 750 so I don't have to diddle with the knobs and I can just punch them in. Because the thing flies so beautifully. Alright, we will start out in heading mode and flight director mode, and there's our flight director. We've got runway heading set. Let's make sure we're in GPS here, and we are. I'm not going to do a run-up because it is impossible with my controls here to set it so that, well, maybe it isn't, so that our we can click this and check each mag, but maybe we'll try it. You know what? Our autopilot is engaged on the ground, and that is also a bozo no-no. That can produce wacky trim results and other unintended side effects. Just get a look at the airport here. Not a bad job. Again, this doesn't look like what you'd think Washington State looks like, which would be overcast and rainy and about 53.5 degrees all year round with mountains. Instead, this is like high desert. And it is beautiful in its own way. Just keeping an eye on the temperatures and pressures. Everything's fine. I'm just going to richen a little bit here. Keep our exhaust gas temperatures from going bonkers. And taxing out a little bit quickly, of course. But that's only because we are young and irresponsible. Alright. Give it the brakes. And unlike prepared, this does not have a friction bug. It means it rolls the way a real plane rolls, more or less. On the other hand, it tends to weather vane more than a real plane does. So, you know, again, trade-offs. Alright, let's just, I'd say spin us into the wind, except there's really no wind to speak of right now, so we'll just get a little bit out of the way of the other aircraft in case anybody wants to jump the gun on us. We'll do a run up about pointed that way. Throw in the parking brake. Alright, we'll run her up to 2,000. Hold it right there. Now let's see if we can do this. 1, 2, no, doesn't work. Does not work. Alright, I do get my drop, but now I don't want to move it over to start, so I'm just going to screw that. But what we will do is exercise our prop controller, get the oil into it. That's cool. And as we're doing that, we'll throw on our landing lights and our strobes. And we'll squawk on altitude because we're going to be coming into an airspace that asks for it. That way we'll check, make sure our tanks are on the fullest one. Go over here. And consider that a success. Other thing we'll do is we'll open up our cowl flaps now so we don't roast our engines. Check our approach end. Check our departure end. And take the runway. Now, recently I've been flying out of here and the trim has been a little bit wonky, so I'm just going to set it to neutral and do it by feel. There we go, right about there. Line ourselves up. This is a 6,700 foot runway, and part of that is because we're pretty high up here. We're at 2,600 feet. Alright. Do our final checks here. Let's just arm that. And we're not going to engage our vertical speed mode yet. And we've got our flaps set. We've got our cowl flaps open. Props full. Mixture can come full now. Let me just come up a little bit so I don't foul the plugs. Lights are on. Transponder is set. Squawking correctly. Alright, so again, we're going to take off and we're basically going to do a right turn here. And let's go. takeoff manifold pressure is going to be closer to 25 than 30 because of the altitude. There we go. Takeoff power set. And up we go. Fly runway heading. Tap the brakes. Bring the gear up. Bring the nose down. Turn. Flaps up. No sound. Don't know why. Come around. Spin our heading bug as we do. And intercept our course. Our pitch for about 80. That'll do us. We're not very heavy. We are slightly high, but we're not especially hot. There we go. Just gonna switch into a nav mode here, so we get good flight director guidance. And I'm just gonna fly for a little while because it's too damn nice not to. This airplane really flies well. Going up to 7,000. Notice that our RMI is pointing straight at Spokane, not Spokane. My mom spent a few years growing up in Spokane. My grandpa was stationed in the Army there, World War II. Alright, there we go. We'll turn onto our course. It's just a great plane to hand fly, it really is. It's fairly sprightly, not too fast, not too slow, won't get in trouble. Alright, we'll just make ourselves direct. Right there. Let's try that again. Come on. Alright, well that's reasonable. There we go. Alright. And up we go. And let's just engage our autopilot there. And do a little scan, bring in climb power. It's been long enough at that sort of suicide power. Bring our props back to about 23. Always adjust the power first, power down first, and then adjust props, and vice versa, adjust props and then power up. Alright, now you see our exhaust gas temperatures are very, very low, so let's just lean ourselves out a little bit there, and notice that's coming up. Bring them back a little bit. Make sure that we have armed our altitude, and we have. That's the same as outcell on the Mighty Dash, so we don't overclimb. And let's take a good look at our cylinder head temperature, and let's lean out a little bit more and see where things are. Now, this is just about peak, and I believe this is just a little bit lean of peak. So let's get it right up there. This, of course, shows the individual cylinders, and some are hotter than the others because they're behind the other ones. Cylinder head temperature is fine. Oil temperature, pressure is fine. Fuel flow is 14 gallons an hour, and we've got 40 gallons, so we can go a little while. And we're 1,000 away. Let's see if it gets us there. And just another little cross check is we're on our shitty little magenta line on our shitty little Garmin 430, which in real life is a lot more useful than it is in fake life because it is a whole lot easier to grab these knobs and manipulate them. Matter of fact, it's trivial to. Whereas in the fake plane, you've got all these little diddly fiddly hotspots, and it's got a high bullshit quotient. So that's a no good. We're pitched for 90. That's fine. We're over the sort of deserty area here. I'm not sure how far we are from the Palouse, which is, some of it is really beautiful. Some of the fields, they grow things like rapeseed and sunflower, and in the springtime they're just amazingly beautiful. I don't know if you remember the original Windows XP wallpaper. It was like a hillside and a very blue sky and very simple scenery. That was area not unbelievably far from here. But as you can see, it gets right into the mountains, and way north of there is the Canadian Rockies, and I think we'll go there next because it's just too damn nice not to. Especially from Felts Field. There's a good series of flights that we can do. Okay, we are leveling off at 7, and that's good. And I'm just going to bring the props back another half a notch right there. And I'm actually going to bring the power up, and I want to just see how fast we can go here. And I'm just going to close our cowl flaps. I think we're okay. And let's see if we can go. I think we can get to about 150 knots if we're doing it right. I'm not flying for Lufthansa, by the way, but be that as it may, looks like we got a little bit of rudder trim cranked in, and we do because our ball is a little deviated, and I don't know about you, but deviated balls can be a real problem. This thing seems to demand an inordinate amount of rudder trim, but there we go. Let's see what it looks like on the back. Alright, it's obviously a control issue because now our rudder is neutral, and that's good. And now we're speeding up a little bit because we don't have that drag of the rudder, and also of presenting ourselves at a crabbed angle to the wind. Alright, let's see what our ground speed is, though. Okay, we're going 157 over the ground and 145, so we get a nice little shove in the back there, which is good. And let's just see how quick we can go. Essentially, we're going to be flying right about to there, so we're not really that far away already. This is not ortho scenery. This is just the X-plane scenery with HD mesh. And alright, now we've got 150 indicated, 163 ground speed. We're moving nicely. Alright, we are in nav 2. We're 40 miles away from Spokane. What we'll do is we'll also get our ILS tuned in for our localizer tuned in for Felts Field, only because it'll help to bring us in if we basically ride the back course on that. So, not to be confused with Neil Young and back course. No, that's Crazy Horse. Everybody knows that, and everybody knows this is no place. So that's 111.7. We'll get tuned in on nav 1. And it is tuned in nav 1. Let's get that alive. Alright, that's set up and ready to go. And we are picking up speed nicely. Okay, we're going 167 ground. Let's just see if there's any DME information yet for, no, there is not for the localizer. That would be unreasonable to think that there is. And even though we are IFR here, doesn't preclude us from keeping our eye out for traffic. And the other thing I noticed last couple flights I've done into Felts here is that SkyMax and Real Weather Connector, because they are good but not great, have the X-plane tendency, and that is to let you putter around in VMC, and then 2.5 minutes before you get to your destination, all of a sudden plunk in a whole bunch of weather from there that says, overcast and a 200 ceiling. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but only a little bit, because if I'm in a cranky mood, I would say that SkyMax, despite its protestations, more or less sucks compared to Active Sky 16, which provides a accurate and beautiful and continuous weather tableau out to the horizon. However, that's me being churlish, because in reality, there must be some sort of limitations built into X-plane, is one thing, and the other thing is that SkyMax has sort of gone from really sucking to sucking less to being okay and to sometimes being quite good, but it is maddeningly inconsistent, and I'm at a loss as to why. And whenever I complain to the SkyMax people, Frank there is really, really good, and Cameron, who I gather runs all of X Aviation, gets all squirrely and defensive. And sometimes it's to me, sometimes it's to other people, and we always end up having to talk him off a ledge or something. And it's odd, because his group and the people in X Aviation, they produce some really, really first-class stuff, including the IXEG 737 and the leading edge Saab, and there is just something about it. Well, there you go. We've just gone from having no weather to having lots of weather, and it just proves my point. And that is clearly not good. And if you notice now, if you look behind us, you'll see that we have the same weather behind us, which means we should have been flying through this all along. If my case was that SkyMax or X-plane or some combination of both of them sucks, just thank you, gods of coincidence, just proved it right then and there. God, look at this. The static wicks, the static vanes, they vibrate. The wind rushes over the windscreen and makes a nice noise. Let me see if we can open this here. Can we not? Bueller. All right. Well, now you see we're showing signs of entering weather, because we are now getting bounced around a little bit. I wonder if it's that SkyMax or Real Weather Connector has trouble in areas that don't have any weather reporting and can't interpolate between two stations. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but whatever it is, it sucks. And I'm grumpy, so I'm just going to say it sucks, and they're stupid. But they're probably not stupid. And it doesn't suck that much, so, do it and feel guilty about it. Alright, we're at 24.5 manifold pressure, 2100 RPM. Let's see if we can go faster. Bring bring our RPM down. Get a little bit bigger bite out of the air. Yeah, I guess so. Alright, we're 22 inbound to the mighty Spokane VOR, at which point we're going to make a gentle right turn to the east. God, this thing is touchy. This is where, like, a real knob in the real world is so much nicer, but also what's nicer is in prepared in many planes like Real Air and A to A, or Majestic's Mighty Dash, a right click moves the knob in one direction, a left click moves in another direction. It gets very nice in that respect. And I think X-Plane in 10.5, once they implement it in add-on aircraft, is going to get better in that respect because it'll have native scroll wheel support instead of when you accidentally move off of a knob having it zoom in like that, which is obviously not what you want. Alright, so we're coming up on the Spokane area. Let's get our weather. Get our ATIS here. Our ATIS. It is 12055. Get that sucker punched up. I'll first get COM2 punched up.
Beltsfield information Foxtrot.
Foxtrot.
1900 Zulu weather. Wind 110 at 9 gust 14.
Ooh.
Visibility more than 10. Sky clear. Temperature 25. Dew point 8. Altimeter 3000.
Alright, same altimeter.
Departing runways 04 left. 04 right, 04 center. Advise on.
Beautiful. Okay. Winds 10 gusting 14. Very nice. No, 9 gusting 14. Out of. Did he say 100? You see, this is what happens when you don't write it down. All right.
Beltsfield information Foxtrot. 1900 Zulu weather. Wind 110 at 9 gust 14. Visibility more than 10. Sky clear. Temperature 25.
Okay, 110. All right, we like it.
Altimeter 3000. Arriving and departing runways 04 left.
Very nice.
04 right.
All right, so we're going to have 9 gusting 13 or 14 from our right front. That should be fun. And wow, we're going 176 knots over the ground. That is really nice. And let's switch our tanks to our left. We've been burning from the right for a little while. Play fair. We'll be coming up on the Spokane River shortly, and technically we could just follow that all the way to Felts Field. And I don't know why it says runway 4 left, 4 right, 4 center, because I'm looking at the latest charts, and there ain't but 2 runways there. There is a taxiway that in the Orbic scenery, which is pretty true to life, is painted over with the Felts Field stenciled on it. And I'm guessing that's what used to be 4 centered and 22 center. So that's probably what it is. Alrighty. When this starts to get down to 1 mile, we are going to turn. I'll just set our turn right now. About 039. Yeah, 045, more or less. And we'll start to descend as well. It's not bad scenery that I've got for it. It is freeware scenery. The Orbic stuff is spectacular. But this ain't bad. And other than the hit or miss sky max, which I'm guessing is going to give us weather again as soon as we get closer. The turbulence and the aerodynamics is just a little bit better feeling in this, although fly this in A to A's Piper Comanche and you got yourself a lot of fun, but what you also have is a really crappy autopilot, so you know, everything's a trade-off. Anyway, we are coming up on our VOR, and we're also coming up on first Fairchild Air Force Base should be dead ahead of us, and then off to our right is going to be Spokane International. So there is Fairchild, and there's Spokane International. And there is Spokane. Actually 039, it'll be more accurate. Set 0 for the vertical speed, and we will set this down to 5. Close enough. God, I hate this. Really hate this with a passion. There we go. Alright, there's Fairchild. There is the airport. There is the interstate. Will pop us into heading select. Get us into VLOC right now. We've got our localizer tuned in, but what we really want to do is set our course for about there, which is our localizer for 2-2. And we're just going to get ourselves on an intercept for the back course. And we'll arm our altitude and engage vertical speed mode and start coming down. Bring the power out. And let's use our heading mode to line ourselves up. Blew through it a little bit, not much. That is the runway right there. Just come down a little bit more precipitously. Right on our yellow line right there. There we go. Again, we're sort of working the back course right here. Flip our DME over, 10 miles out. Okay, all set. Open up our cowl flaps a little bit. Again, I'm just using my heading bug now to stay on track here. Let's get our course set up. It should be 221, give or take. Good looking picture, and I will bet you dollars to donuts that at any moment now our weather is going to start to act up. Now it's clear again, for whatever that's worth. Okay, come off the power. And let's come down some more. Bring in our props. There we go. Get a little bit of a sink going. And are we going to do a straight in? Let's do a straight in. And since we're going to do a straight in, let's drop our autopilot. Come a little bit to the right here. And oh, we've got a nice little wind working. Let's lose some speed right now. Pull level. Get the gear down. Make it a little sporty, a little fun. There we go, and we got some wind. Alright, put in a notch of flaps. Come off the power. Go full rich. And get our asses down. Got a little slip going, a little cross control. Okay, got one notch of flaps out. I'm just gonna wait until we get on our glide path. And yeah, that's quite a crosswind. Alright. Okay, now we're on our glide path. Let's get the power in. A notch of flaps out. Get a little speed up. And wow, that's a bit of wind. That's a lot of wind. Look at that. We're not going anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, let me first... We're not going nowhere. Alright. I'm going to get ourselves back lined up, and now I'm going to have to get my wing over here into it and maintain. Alright. Let's see how we're going to do this. We'll do a crab and then decrab. Get my wing down. Now, you know what? We'll do it the classic way. Wing into it and cross control with the rudder to maintain center line. That's gusting. It's not working very well. Try it the other way. We'll do a little airliner style crab and cross control in the opposite direction. That's better. Not much. Alright. There we go. Ease off the rudder. Wow. Alright. Now I'm going to... No! Oh, don't do that now. Get my nose down. Get my wing down is what I mean. There we go. And there we are. Textbook, almost. There we go. Alright. Wow, that was pretty nice. Anybody want to see that again? Problem is when I do a replay, it tends to crash the airplane. So let me just get ourselves off the runway. We'll do the replay a couple times and then stop the video, because if I stop the replay, it will tend to make a crashing sound and reload the aircraft. Alright, we're clear to cross. That was sporty, ladies and gentlemen. That was very sporty. And this is a pretty good looking airport. I'm going to get our landing lights off here. There we go. I was going to say turn our APU on. And we'll just knock over the gasoline pump here. Texaco truck, Union 76 pumps. Alright, well, why not? That's socialism for you. Everybody gets along. Alright, now, before we go any further, I don't want to shut down the plane because that screws up the replay too. Let's check this sucker out. Mamma mia, that's a crosswind. Alright, let's see. I wonder... Yes! Alright, let's see. Well, it doesn't show a crosswind, but it shows our ground speed. Alright. That's pretty cool looking. Hang on, let's see if we can see us. We can. Alright, away we go. See the gusts giving us. Oh, look at you see us dicking around there with our yaw axis here. Trying to get that right wing down into the wind. Trying. Losing it there. There we go. Look at that windsock. It's dead across the strip there. All right, there we go. Flare, flare, flare. Yes. All right, that's a little abrupt, but that's actually how you're supposed to do it. Can't believe it. Alright. Not textbook, but not terrible. I figure about a 15 knot tailwind. I'll take it. Here, let's see what that looked like from... Yeah, you know what? That's a decent sized crosswind there. So now I'm going to transition, I'm going to kick out that crab, and I'm going to lower my right wing. That's the theory, at least. And there we go. I try it this time and do it a little too soon. Look at that, there's the float. But eventually we get it right. And do a little weather veining into the wind. You see that? That is a real phenomenon. And what I can't do, because I've got a joystick instead of a yoke, is put in a lot of cross control, put in a lot of aileron on the ground. It just doesn't seem to feel right. Let's just try one more time from the old chase plane perspective. No, I kind of like that. And I think it was about 137 feet per minute, which is well within parameters. So, here we go. One last time. Not bad looking scenery. Probably would have given myself an easier time if I landed no flaps and a little faster. It's a short runway. I don't know. Sounds great. Whoa, and look at us slide around there. Look at that. Little gust. And watch the windsock as we go over it too. Hello. All right. On that note, I think we're going to take this plane or maybe the reality expansion packed Cessna Centurion and take it into the Canadian Rockies. Do a little bit of mountain flying, and until next time, everyone watching and everyone subscribing, all 903 of you, which is just amazes me and delights me to no end, along with your comments and your tips and questions and attaboys and hey knuckleheads and all the rest of that. Couldn't be happier with it, and thank you so much, and I'll see you again really, really soon. Good night.